Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the fact that Bitcoin has once again lost the 200-week average as support. We've come back below and closed under it on the weekly chart. So if you guys enjoy the content, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. Also consider checking out our sponsors and partners over at ftx.us. It is a great exchange where you can buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency. And if you sign up with my link in the description below, you can get a 5% discount on your exchange fees. It is a great exchange. I do highly recommend them. All right, so let's talk about Bitcoin here, and we're going to be looking at the weekly chart. This yellow line is once again the 200-week average, and you can see that historically during the bear markets, this is actually where we've experienced some sort of longer-term bottom. You can see in 2015 we had two retests of this level. Both of these retests actually held as support, and then we formed the bottom and then went on to a new bull market. Same thing in 2018 and 2019, two tests right here, one in December in 2018 and then one more in January of 2019. We also had a test right here in March of 2020. But as you can see, that Bitcoin has not actually held this as support. We've fallen below it back here in June as well as July. And, we had a brief reclaim, but unfortunately that couldn't last. We didn't hold it as support and we've come back below this. And I think in general, in terms of the longer term cycle, we do want to see this reclaimed and a more convincing reclaim where we eventually have multiple candles closing above it, holding it as support. And when that happens, then I think we can actually start to, start trending back up to say the 30K region or, eventually some of those higher valuations. But until we can actually convincingly reclaim this with several candles holding it as support, I still think we're going to just be sort of playing around here, not doing too much, maybe consolidating, forming a longer term base. And one of the things that I like to consider when looking at this moving average is that, historically, we've only had one time in history where we had a pretty abrupt move under this. And that was back during March of 2020. If I take a measured move here, you can see the wick went all the way down about 30% below it. So if this level is to be lost, which in the short term, it does seem to be sort of acting as some sort of resistance, if we're going to be not holding this as support, the next line of defense has historically been the 300-week moving average. So that is this orange line you can see back here in March of 2020. That's the next level we dropped down to, with the lows actually being around, 1 or 2% off of this 300-week average. And currently today, that is at around $17,200. So if this is to be some sort of longer-term area of resistance into the next few weeks and months, then I would look out to the 300-week average as potentially where Bitcoin could experience some longer-term support, because clearly the 200-week is not providing that longer-term support such as we've seen in the prior bear markets again. So you can see these bottoms again at the 200-week average, and this time around that has not happened. We've obviously gone pretty far below it, spent the longest time in Bitcoin's history below this moving average. So the next logical area to look at would be again the 300-week average. And I also think it is important to note that the 300-week moving average is a moving target. So consider the fact that 300 weeks ago Bitcoin was really down there. If I just take a measure move, we can actually see how much Bitcoin was 300 weeks ago, so we can get a better idea of how this is going to continuously move up. So again, 300 weeks ago the closing price was around $600, $700. So we're replacing closes in that $600, $700 range with closes around 20K. So this will obviously continuously move up. All right, so let's talk about the trajectory of this current moving average. If we were to say extend out its rate of change at the moment, again, it's at $17,000 today, but if we were to say test this later on towards the end of the year, it could be all the way up around $18,500. It really does matter when we do test it. And ultimately, I'm looking at this as a longer term level of support, not only because this has provided support back here in March of 2020, but again, it's really confluent with this macro lower high back here that we had in January of 2018. If I just extend this line out, you can see that basically this was the level that we had this longer term lower high, this rejection point. So I would look to this area in confluence with the 300-week moving average as some sort of longer term support. Not saying we have to go back down there, but again, we haven't held support on the 200-week. So my assumption is that if we're going to make a move back down, this is the next area we could look to for getting some longer term support. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. Once again, check out our sponsors over in the link in the description below. ftx.us is a great exchange. Highly recommend them. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.